What's good, y'all? This your country cousin Pete McCorvey, a.k.a. Petey Mac. Man, get on up here. Pull you up one, light you up one, kick your shoes off, relax, baby. You around family. We on the porch. It's Pete McCorvey's Porch Talk. Let's do this. What's going on, fam? This is your country cousin Pete McCorvey, a.k.a. Petey Mac, and welcome back to the porch, man. Oh, man, a lot of stuff has happened this past week. First of all, before we go any further, and before I even get to the sports, we're going to take a moment because this episode is going to be dedicated to, I got to say now, the late, great George Foreman, Houston great. Heavyweight champion of the world, two-time heavyweight champion of the world. Woke up this morning and saw that he had passed, man. This is like seeing Superman pass. I mean, Superman in every sense of the world. Big George Foreman gave us some of the most memorable moments in not just boxing, but all sports. One was the iconic call from Howard Cosell when he won the championship in Jamaica in 70, I'm gonna say it was 73, 74, one of those that'll tell you, but he ended up beating he ended up beating Joe Frazier. And Howard Cosell gave us this iconic call. Anytime somebody fall or go down real bad, we always say this: down goes Frazier, down goes Frazier, down goes Frazier. And that was courtesy of Big George Foreman putting him on his ass like about 6 times. It was the first time he did it, but he ended up putting him on his ass 6 times in that fight to win the heavyweight champion. He gave us the Rumble in the Jungle in Zaire, in Kinshasa, Zaire in 1974 with him and the former heavyweight champ Muhammad Ali, who lost his belt because of his political views. It got snatched from him because he didn't want to go to fight in the war in Vietnam because of his affiliation with the Nation of Islam. Unfortunately, he lost his title then, but he was so bad, Muhammad Ali didn't even want to get that man another shot at it. Like, even though Muhammad Ali knocked him out in the 8th round using his rope-a-dope technique to tire George Foreman out, Big George was laying them thumpers to him. If you go watch that fight and see how big George Foreman was, he was laying that iron to him, because they say George Foreman was so bad he used to knock the stuffing out of heavy bags. They say it was nothing for his camp to go through several heavy bags. Also, he became, like at one point in time, the oldest heavyweight champ, I think at the age of 45 in the early 90s when he won his title back from Michael Moore. Gave us another iconic quote from boxing commentating great Jim Lampy. It happened. But if you are younger and don't follow boxing, what you most gonna remember him as is the man who had the grill, the George Foreman grill, which was supposed to be, I don't think it necessarily was, but it was supposed to be a healthier way for us to eat food because it would drain all the fattening grease out of it, making it more lean. I don't really think it really did that, but it did. I made many burgers and cooked many pieces of bacon on George Foreman grill. So the man was a part of American culture way before I was born, during my childhood, after my childhood. Matter of fact, the movie he had on his life, Big George Foreman, that came out about 1.5 years ago, was a pretty good movie. So the man pretty much was relevant, I can say, my whole life, and hell, even before I was even thought of. So RIP to boxing great and H-Town legend, Big George Foreman, man. Them was rough. That's a legend. My whole, like, people from my childhood are just, it's like UGK say, man, one day you're here, the next day you're gone. And that one's just, I mean, I can understand he was 76, but like I said, it's like find out that Superman passed away. So R.I.P. to the late, great George Foreman. Now in entertainment news, kind of sad, but I'm also kind of happy. Found out that Abbott Elementary creator and star Quinta Brunson is getting divorced from her white husband. You know, a few months ago, like last year, people found out she was married to the white guy. I'm not going to say his name because I really don't even care about the dude because he ain't really done nothing significant for me to care about him. She said she kept it under wrap because she didn't want to catch no flack for people giving her hell because she was married to a white man. I mean, you know, it's 2020, at that time, 2024, 2025. Now, you love who you love. But now they say she filing for a divorce from him, so, you know, Dr. Umar somewhere, boy, he up there, he turning up. He probably turning up harder than he did when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. You know, I hate to see marriages break apart, but all I'm gonna say this is to Miss Brunson, you come on home, baby. You know, it's all right, but you come on home. We'll welcome you back. We missed you, baby. We miss you, baby. So you gonna come on home. It's everything gonna be all right. Oh man, so that's sad, but or one could say it's a glad occasion. Now we're going into sports. Oh my goodness, it is my favorite time of the year. Y'all know me, it's my favorite time of the year. It is March Madness. That means that's college basketball championship tournament. Everybody going to get the natty. Everybody making a run for it. We've had some good stuff come out of it. Alabama State and the Alabama State men's basketball team and the Southern University women's basketball team recorded their two wins. Each of them recorded a win in the tournament, which is first time for both of those programs in the school's history. Alabama State, I think they played in the play-in game to get into the round of 64, but unfortunately they lost in the first round. But that still is a good thing for Alabama State. And the Southern Lady Jaguars, excuse me, getting tongue-tied, they're still in it, still going strong. So see how far they can get. But you know, for some of the Blue Bloods, it ain't look too good for some of the Blue Bloods. Memphis has been put out, and they've been put out by Colorado State, which was crazy because I had turned on the game on Max, and they were up. Memphis was running the flow. Got away from it, got preoccupied, was doing something else. I think I was cleaning, I was washing my dishes. Had a lot of dishes I had to wash, and looked down, and one of my Facebook friends had reported that Colorado State beat them, and I was like, they were just up. He said, yeah, they got them out of there. Penny, I don't know how to feel about it. I think Penny, he gonna be talking to the athletic director, because that ain't a good look. That ain't a good look there. That is not a good look. And I can't even believe this next Blue Blood. UNC is out of it. The University of North Carolina Tar Heels are out of it. I got put out the first round by the Ole Miss Rebels. Now, granted, Ole Miss was, there was a higher seed than them, but you don't think of UNC Tar Heel basketball and you wouldn't think the Ole Miss Rebels was sending them fishing back to Chapel Hill. But it happened. I just didn't see it going too good for me, because every time they face my team, I'm gonna name later, they They lost. They got swept by them in their normal rivalry they have every year. But everybody, I knew it was trouble when UNC had to play into that play-in game against San Diego State University. I remember somebody had put up online a UNC fan page was like, good win and all that, and everybody was like, it's San Diego State. It's like, it's not the San Diego State from 2023 with Lamont Butler, who is now did his last year over at the University of Kentucky. It's San Diego State. Like, you don't get points. And then they call this playing game. They call this new when it's around the 68 and you got the 14 trying to play in. They call that the first four. I am so sick of these damn names for these goofy ass things. This everybody get a trophy shit. That first four shit sounds like the NBA did with that in-season tournament garbage. Get out of here with all them names, man. Like, I just can't stand it, but man, damn, I didn't expect to see this from Memphis or UNC. But my Duke Blue Devils still rolling hard. Now the first round, they had to play Mount St. Mary's. I mean, I'm not going to say you can hold it against anybody because on the tournament, any given afternoon or evening or night in March, anything can happen. But easy win, blew them out the water, on to the next one. So, like I said, Duke went into the title as the ACC regular season champs, the ACC tournament champs, and they was number one in the nation, had the number one seed. So it's looking like my Blue Devils look like we finna get it done. But like I said in the last episode, I am a Duke Blue Devil fan. I know how they do. They do this every year. We get to the Sweet 16, we get to the Elite 8, and you got to hold your breath. And if they happen to get to the Final Four, it's like, oh snap, they made it. And then so I'm into that night in early April. I'm holding my breath. But you know, it's tournament season time, but there ain't no other time like it, baby. March Madness. Now moving on to television, Raising Canaan is on the third episode of the season, and it's heating up. Opens up with Unique taking out Richard and Sonny. If y'all remember them, they was the two people that had they had the front that of the Chinese restaurant that Rock used. He went in there, robbed them for some of their product, robbed them for their cash, shot them up. Then we see Jukebox. She's back at home with Marvin. You know, they eating, having breakfast. He telling her what she gonna do because he wasn't too keen on her going to the white man's home, as he called it, and seeing what was gonna happen in this, that, and the third. And she said they're probably gonna send people after me. So as she finishing up breakfast, knock on the door, 2 uniformed personnel. Now, this is where this whole scene get tricky. So the uniformed personnel, when they cut back to the scene, they showed that they were like, you signed a contract, you're supposed to do this. He's like, well, I just get an entry-level discharge. And they're like, that's not how this is going to work. You're not going to do this. And we got to go through a board and all this. And then she tell them that she gay. She can't do it. And then they said we was doing this as a courtesy. We can get the MPs to come. And she's like, well, you can go get the MPs. And I go get a lawyer, we can do all this, and we waste the time. So then one of them does the shit that they do on TV, whispers to the other one, and he says, we're going to grant you this and all that. He said, we're going to grant you this entry-level discharge. Then he tries to tell her, but you're letting your country down. And I'm not going to lie, Jukebox hit him back with one of the most beautiful lines. She said, that's okay. She said, this country's letting me and mine down, meaning black people, for a long time. And I love when she said that line. But there's a problem with this scene that I didn't really like. Now, being somebody who's in the military, that's not gonna go that way. They're gonna let you do that and just good. Even if they are granting you a discharge, you're still gonna have to serve, and it's going to take a long time for them to process. It's not going to be no, we're going to do this, we grant you this, you're going, no, she's going to have to put them camouflage back on, put her ass back to base, and then she's going to have to sit there until she get her orders cut, and they give her those pieces of paper orders, and now it's official. And especially back then, because they didn't have the internet, everything was done by hand. Jukebox was looking at by at least 6 months, I say to a year. So that wasn't factual. But I like the whole scene. Now she's out the army. Because like I said, I was wondering how was she going to end up becoming a cop that we saw in the OG Power. Because back then, there was no way you could have become a cop with a dishonorable discharge. But obviously, she got an honorable discharge. And so that still made her good for, civil service. But we got to figure out how she swung that, because even then you had to explain, well, why were you discharged early from the army? Then we go to Crystal. Crystal's coming to Kanan's apartment, because they are item now. And while she coming to the apartment, she see Unique come out, which I don't understand how Unique got the drop that Kanan's apartment was right there. But she saw him coming out, and this spooked her. She tells Kanan, we need to get another apartment. You need to get another apartment because you don't need to be laying where you work at. Which is like Biggie said on 10 Crack Commandments, never sell no crack where you lay at. So, that's rules of the game. She really hipping him to the rules that he was trying to explain to, like, I can't be affording new expenses and this, that, and the third. But eventually, he hears her word. Later on in the episode, we see that they go get them another apartment for him to lay his head in and not to be using the same house that he trap out of. Lou is getting back to his old self. We see him, that guy B-Rilla that Gelfin wanted him to push. B-Rilla seemed like he just one of them ignorant hood niggas that want to lay on his ass, blame the system for everything, and like he's squatting in Lou's house. And Lou is like, look, I ain't looking for no other roommate. We need to get you somewhere to stay. We need to talk to Gilfin about an advance because this ain't gonna work. So we now see him take Lou to Giffen, and they have a heated exchange. They going back and forth. We talking, B-Rilla talking about how the black man had a horse, and then of course, Giffen want to put this woe is me, or I'm Jewish, and I've had this, that, and the third, and all that. And B-Rilla hit him with something that was real that I love. B-Rilla said, but you still white. You can hide the fact you're Jewish. I can't hide the fact I'm black. And then Gilfin started going this long rant talking about how his father had it hard, and he, like, banks would trust. He couldn't get a job as a cop, couldn't get a job, lowest job, labor job. He said, so we had to fight all kind of prison. And went on this whole long tirade. And then he asked B-Rilla, he said, did he really care about it? B-Rilla just looked around, took a deep breath, thought about it for 3 seconds, said, nah. And I love when he did that. Because that, as a black man, when people who are white, now I ain't talking about their ethnical background, but if you look at them with a naked eye, you can see they white. They try, well, I had this, that, and the third too. Be real big and say, I don't give a fuck about none of that shit you talking, because it's bullshit. And I love when he did that. And as we see Marv, his evolution getting better. He went to check on Gerald's daughter, Amber, who went to foster care. She called him Uncle Marvin. Say what you want to say. I thought it was the cutest thing in the world. It was just, Marv is just, I have a feeling Marv finna die though. Cause he too good. He's just, everything is going too good and everything falling in the pocket for Marv. I have a feeling Marv finna catch it. I really do. But I like where they have Marv at now versus when we first saw him in season 1. Now we move to the end of the episode. The end of the episode is the dinner scene. And I swear this must be a running theme in the Power universe because they can't never have a dinner go right without a hitch. First of all, Rock questions, before the dinner even gets started, Rock questions Kanan about not going to school because she got a note to the house saying he wasn't going to school, and then he said, I'm done with school. And she said, I thought we was going to go to college. You were going to go to college and all. She said, that's what you wanted me to do. She said, you made me this type of nigga, but you expect me to be like that. And he said, sometimes I think you crazy, which shocked the hell out of me, because, you know, the way them parents who came up in the 60s and 70s raising kids in the 80s and early 90s, the way they tell it, Kanan's supposed to be picking up teeth. I mean, I'm going to be honest, I was raised in the 90s and early 2000s. I probably been picking up teeth. I would say that to my mama, like, sometimes I think you crazy. I even joke with my mom now, like, call her crazy, but I can't come out and say you crazy. I got to go around it, take back avenues to do it. So, yeah, I don't understand that about that. Then you get into the dinner. Their mother, Kanan's grandmother, revealed she has cancer. And Rock lets her mother have. She said, you some shit you supposed to tell us over pot roast. She said, you was hard on our ass all our lives, and now we supposed to just sit here and act like everything's good. Rock was just basically like, I'm over this shit, I'm over you, I don't care. So maybe we're going to dig deeper into how rough she was. But like, it's some pain there that they show, because Rock was just like, this ain't something I'm trying to talk about with you, and now you trying to act like everything is all good with us when you ran us through the mud. As children. So I think I love it. I think it's wonderful acting. But Tina Miller, of course, she always kill it. This woman needs an Emmy. Like, TV people, whoever over to get this woman an Emmy. This woman deserves it as Rock. Because her as Rock and her, when you see her do interviews and who she is a complete 180. Now, what I do love about this episode, they are staying true to the styles of it. So we know the style is evolving, because how we know it's 93, they show Kanan with the Jordan 9s on. In the episode where him and Crystal got racial profile, I mean, they got racial discriminated against at one of the apartments, we see he has on Jordan 9s, and he has on a race car jacket. I didn't even know those were popular, so I guess when we got them back in the early 2000s, I guess they was coming back in style. And then another giveaway that is like 93 is Marvin's high top is not completely boxy. It's starting to get like a little bulby and round like how they was in like 92 and 93. So I love it. However, Marvin, no, he love him some Pele Pele. He does love some Pele Pele. And one of my friends, he said something about this. He said, I don't like the fact that he got an anchor chain. I said, well, bro, you got to think about it. Marvin's in his 40s. So he's one of them old heads that's trying to stay on game but still kind of behind. That's how I got to look at it. You know, we see like some old heads you got now that'll come out kind of wearing like somewhat baggy jeans and, you know, team jackets and stuff like that with force and all that. They trying, but they just steal certain part of their time that they hanging on to. And I'm going to say this. I am 100% convinced that I don't know if she's pregnant now, but she definitely was pregnant then. She had holding a baby on the wraps, because Haley Kilgore and them, she looked 100% pregnant. I'm convinced she was 100% pregnant. It was the scene where they was at the dinner table and she had that shirt on. The way she kind of was, the shirt was hanging off of her, and the way she kind of was holding her hips and everything, the way she was looking, she looked with child as hell. And if she did have a baby, because I thought it was just weight gain, I'm like, no, that's pregnancy. And if she did have a baby and she keeping the baby out the line, I'm like, I get it, because everybody don't need to, you know, black people, you know, everybody don't need to hold our baby, they don't need to touch our baby, everybody don't need to see our baby, so I get it. But you can't convince me that if she ain't pregnant now, she was pregnant doing film. You can't convince me otherwise. Now we going in the, to the rookie. This episode was just kind of just half comical, half serious, because they brought Raj back. If y'all don't remember who Raj was, he's the guy who had the Cop Cutie song that Nolan and Selena had to respond to because they were disturbing the neighbors in their garage. Where for some reason, Selena, the episode began with Nolan and Bailey coming out because Selena's boyfriend that she was dating, his band was playing. Selena introduces the man to him and he sings Cop Cutie again. And I don't know what would make Selena think that was a great idea to do, because she knew Nolan didn't like that song. That ain't make no sense for you to sit there and have Nolan deal with that. It was funny though, watching Nolan get pissed off, and then watching all the clips of him singing, like the people pissing him off. He's singing about firefighters. He's talking about some Girl Scouts. Oh man, that shit was just hilarious. But the other part of the episode it made me mad. That's just because of the story. I get you out of here. So they had a raccoon on the loose, and Miles was charged with the task of catching him. Now, Miles' character had already pissed me off because of the crappy ass Texas accent he gave him. But it's some stuff he said, and then when somebody said, we need somebody to catch this thing. And this nigga, I said it says varmint. I used to catch varmints all the time. Don't nobody say that. Black on white, don't nobody say, what the hell are you, Yosemite Sam from Looney Tunes? Nobody says fucking varmint. And this is, ooh. We see that Nolan and James, they fixing things after he got shot, and I love to see. They humanizing, not Nolan, Nyla. They humanizing Nyla way more, and I'm loving that. Lucy finally had the nerve to report Seth, and Seth got fired. What happened was they were in the hospital looking after some suspect, some dude, and his oncologist comes up to him. And then this raised a red flag with Lucy. Said he had an oncologist, and he was like, if you had an oncologist, why did you change it to another doctor? They said, can't pronounce the doctor's name. I think it was Hasnikoff or something like that. And he was like, well, I wanted to change it because I just, all this stuff got difficult, and I changed it due to our insurance policy we have. So this raised a red flag. Lucy talks to Lieutenant, because I want to call him Sergeant Gray so bad. Lieutenant Gray's wife, who happens to be a social worker. So she talks to her about it. She mentioned the name of the oncologist he got. Now she said, yeah, people go to him when they want them to lie, because he's had a bunch of bad reviews. So Lieutenant Wade, Bradford, and Lucy, and Tim, and Lucy, they corner Seth. They ask him to submit to a drug test to prove he still has cancer or whatnot. He says he won't. And then they fire him. They decided to fire him. And it was like, damn, finally enough lies. But with the end, he's threatening to sue him. But the end of the episode, it tripped me out because Angela was working the case with this stabbing that happened between 3 girls, and she read through the thing and found out that these 2 girls, they stabbed up the 3rd girl, and it's this phone app that they got called Zuzu, and she's like, it hypnotized me and all that, and it creeped out Nolan because it's read Nolan back his whole life and told him what he did before he joined as a rookie, and told him they knew he was married and everything. So we finna see more of Zuzu now than we ever do. But who I want them to bring back, so they doing Zayna thing, I want them to bring back Skip, Lance, and Tracy. That's what I want them to German do. I love him. He was hilarious, and I loved him. They didn't bring him back since they wanted to bring back the cop cutie singer. Bring back Skip, Lance, and Tracy. Now, before I get out of here, it's something that I had saw in an Instagram post that I wanted to address. And it was a woman in her thing. She was telling these dudes, she was like, here's 3 ways to know that a woman doesn't want you. She tells you these 3 things. She said the first one is when a chick says, we'll see. She said the second one is when she says she's been real busy not to contact you. And the third one is when you give her a compliment and she simply replies, thanks. Now, I thank her for that, but that ain't something you putting us on game about. That's game 101. And I'm going to tell you why it's game 101. Because any dude who falls for any of this, you didn't really have anybody teaching you a game. And as a matter of fact, not all of them you really need game. I'm going to tell you one. Number 1, you don't need game for number 1. She says, we'll see. You should learn that from your mama. I don't know anybody out there when you ask your mama, hey, can we go to McDonald's after church, or hey, can we get a dog, or hey, can I get this game? If your mama's anything like my mom, she'll go, we'll see. And we all have been Helen Keller, Ray Charles, and fucking Stevie Wonder, because we ain't never seen none of that shit. So you didn't need somebody to break that down for you. You should learn that shit from your mama. That's game 101. Now, I'm going to skip the second one. She said I'm going to go to the third one. The third one is you give her a compliment and she says thanks. Bruh, you should learn that in high school or junior high. You know, I done had it happen plenty of times, junior high, high school, and a couple times in college. I ain't have it happen now because I really don't like complimenting women, you know. If I don't see no emotion from you, I'm not finna just compliment you. Because, you know, depending on who giving a compliment now, it can either be considered creepy or a compliment. And I don't know why I fall in that pendulum. If I'm not sure why I fall in that pendulum with you, I'm not trying to get no sexual harassment charge against me, so I'm not giving you no compliment. But you should learn that one at least by 7th, 8th grade. And when they say that, take the L, keep it pushing. Now the second one, I can't really say you gotta have game, because I found this one out in my 20s. I didn't, you know, because, you know, when they're young, they can't really use this. But this one, you for somebody in their 20s. She say she's been real busy. And I had a mishap with that when I first got to California. Because, you know, I was living in Atlanta, and, you know, it was, at that time, you was a straight black man who was decent looking, had a job, had a car. You could beat them off. You had to beat them women off you with a stick. It ain't like that in Atlanta no more, but back when I was living there, it was. So I get out there, Atlanta spoiled me, and I'm meeting all kind of beautiful women of all different color. Met some Asian, met some whites, met some black women. And you'll hit them up, y'all vibing real good. You text them just like, hey, you want to make plans? Like, I'm real busy, I can't do this. And to throw the extra razzle dazzle on there, what they'll say is, I'm busy with school and work. Because now they want you to see like, oh damn, she worked real hard and she educating herself. You know, like she work at some corporate law firm downtown San Diego, and she go to San Diego State or UC San Diego or University of San Diego. Well, immediately, that girl ain't even a shift leader at McDonald's, and she been going to Mira Mesa College for the past 6 years, and she ain't got no children. She just bullshitting and just say she in school because it's just something to say. What that really means is, when I've been real busy and all that, what that means is you really don't have a shot with me right now, because you're not on my radar. You're not a guy I really wanted to get with. But I enjoy the attention you give me. It's an ego boost, and I love that. But I don't have the heart to tell you that I won't want to be with you. Now, she'll probably get with you later down the line when she really want to catch a body and go, you know, she want to go out here and like be a slut and then want to catch a body, but she don't want to feel like no slut because you are a nice guy. So she was like, well, at least I ain't go out there and get it from no guy who's going to make me feel like trash. At least I got it from this lane. And my thing is, I'm going to say, fellas, don't get it. Don't feel bad. Don't feel like you're a rebound. Bro, I done caught so many women off the rebound. If I caught more women off the rebound, then they call me Dennis Rodman. That's how many women I used to catch off the rebound. Boy, I was like Dennis Rodman in Detroit and Dennis Rodman on the 3P with the Bulls, 96 through 98. Man, I stayed putting them, catching them off the rebound. I wasn't ashamed of it, but the thing is, don't fall for it. Catch them off the rebound, knock them a few times. When they say, I feel real bad, all right. And like they said on the heart, they fall, away with the wind, she blows. And then they be like, you not gonna chase me? No, you want my girl, you just my time. Just like, because we understood this side. But yeah, that's what those three mean, man. Like, and you didn't need no woman to teach all that. Like I said, that's basic game 101. So, fellas, do with that information what you must. Anyway, that's been my time on the porch, y'all. You know, it's been a great time. I had a couple more topics I want to talk about. I'll wait till them next week, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to go in on them, because they kind of grind my gears. You want to holler at me, man, you know, you can find me on Facebook, you know, my name, Pete McCorvey. You can find me on Instagram, PETEYMAC10, PDMac10, or you can find me on Instagram, you can find me on TikTok at PDMac89, spelled the same way as Instagram, just take the 1 and the 0 and put an 8 and a 9 there instead. So until next time, y'all be cool, stay calm, and get paid. Peace.